So what I'm going to do is just go over some of the basic parts that come with it and what their functions are. I'll also just be giving you some basic placement tips and just to get you started. The whole purpose of this was to kind of give everybody some parts that they could start working with, a basis for some of their creations, because I know you guys use a lot of different mods. So I wanted to kind of give you guys kind of like the groundwork, lay the groundwork for you, make the basic models, and then you guys can go ahead and mod the heck out of it or do whatever you want with it. So this is the con tower, the control tower for the carrier. The hatch is here. It does work. It stores up to 8 Kerbals. It has no IVA, so you can get the guys out, you can put the guys back in, but there's no IVA as in an internal space right now. That I will release later on. There is, if you take a look at it, 3 connection nodes on the bottom, 3 connection nodes on the side, and a tiny connection node on the top. I might, you know, add a couple more connection nodes later on. For now, this is pretty good because most things you can surface attach to it anyways. So generally speaking, this is how I start. I then start placing my wall sections. So you'll see if you place a wall section here, it's going to just fit in here perfect. It took me a long time to get all these parts to jive together, and it was a pain at times, but you know, it works. So we have it working. You're going to have to use your shift key a lot. Shift and roll your mouse wheel up. That takes you to the ceiling. And shift and hold your right mouse button and slide and in and out. That will help you move around in the building a little bit easier. So you can rotate and then slide or go up and down as needed. Now, as we build this thing, we want to have it so that you know, we can work on it, and you can only really work within the bounds of the yellow area that you see on the ground here in this square. So anything beyond that, you really can't place parts very well. Everything gets kind of, you know, freaky, and you're going to have to move your pieces around. And then what we want to do is add the hull sections to the bottom, and the hull sections are these nice pieces right here. And then we add the next one. You'll get used to placing them. When you pick them up, they're in an awkward position because it thinks they're going into the vertical launch vehicle bay. So you just hit the W key, and then either the D key or the A key, and just rotate them. So what I want to do now is show you basically the bottom hull. You can't just put these pieces together and expect the whole thing to stay together like beautifully. So what you have to do is you have to shore it up. And to shore it up, we just really want to use the strut connectors that I put in the pack. They're basically uprated struts. So they will hold this together, and what I like to do is just basically stitch it like you're tying up your shoelaces. Just make one here, drag it here, one here, drag it here, go to the next one. I know this seems tedious, but put it this way, you only have to really do it once. So do it and do it well, and the ship won't fall apart on you. That's what you do for the bottom section. Now for the top section and this lift, because this lift is capable of carrying, you know, lifting aircraft and stuff, it has to be extremely durable. So make sure you go from the bottom corner of the lift down to the wall, or the so cross stitch it there, and then from this piece here we want to go up to the next section, and you can do it right up against the inside there like that. So if you want to use the bottom, I use the bottom for engines and maybe for some other stuff. The splashes from the water sometimes do penetrate in here, so whatever you put down here could get knocked off, most likely will get knocked off. If you have anything sensitive that you don't want to lose, put it up on this upper deck here. So I would do that along each and every one of these, placing struts like this. So if you place the bow, and you notice that it's off a little bit, a couple of the nodes are a little bit nitpicky. So what I had to do, what I do here is I have, if you see that ledge there, just grab the bow and just give it a very slight movement with the mouse and let go, and it lines up. Okay, so there's your bow. Now from the inside, what I would do, oops, see, it is a little bit tricky. And if I want to get to the front to do some work, all we have to do is go beside here, grab this, and move the whole structure back, and then slide back out. You see, so it's not impossible. And then use your mouse wheel with the shift key and scroll back down a little bit here. So what I do is I make ever so small little connections in here just to make it so that it doesn't look like it's a strutted up piece of the deck for the carrier decking down to the nose of the carrier. So now we have 6 nodes connecting that nose on, and there's no way it's coming off. There's no way it's even going to shift or shimmy. It's just going to be rock solid. Okay, so for the next parts, all you're going to do is you're just going to keep you know, adding your parts on. So you put your decking down again right there. You do your struts wherever you feel like you need some struts. Normally the decking's pretty solid. It doesn't need a lot of reinforcement. I didn't even strut the one in the video before and the one in the live stream. I didn't even strut those at all. So they stayed on pretty good, and they had aircraft rolling around on them and everything. So we're gonna move this over, and like I said, if it goes a little bit over there that way too much, just grab it and move it back. Now that we have the front of the boat, once we get the front of the boat done, we move it forward and we start building up the back of the boat and rotate it the right way. Place it. Now in the streaming video, the video event that I had the other day, I told people to keep a little bit of a ledge here along this leading edge. It's a little secret that I've kind of figured out. Not only do you not want this going into the floor because it will interact with the water conceivably and cause splashing, which is bad, keep it a little bit higher so that when you get a plane up this ramp, it is a little tricky at times, and you don't want to give so much thrust that you fly into something else up in your ship. So what you do is you give it just enough thrust to get up, and if by chance it starts rolling back on you, the wheels catch this ledge a little bit and don't like rolling back over it. And we put that into position just like we did with the nose of the ship. We're going to go down and inspect the edge, and the edge looks like it's on. So it looks like I placed it good. Like the nose though, it does have the ability, because the 2 nodes at the bottom, the 2 nodes at the back are not perfectly aligned, and I realize that, but we're getting to the nitty-gritty, and it's not that important because one of them does line up. So if you get this little ledge thing appearing here, just grab it and ever so slightly just, see, drag it into position and drop it. Carrier ramp. So again, see the mount here? That's the side that has to mount to the ship. So what we do is we just place the mouse on the back of the ship where we want it to mount and start rotating it. If you rotate it wrong the first time, just take it back and rotate it again until you get it to the proper orientation, which is this. Now you can see that this is where it's supposed to go, but it's red. So what you want to do is just take it, see there, drop it, pick it back up again, and now it will mount, no problem. And as before, like I mentioned with the lift, leave a little bit of an edge there. So when the plane gets up there, if it does by chance want to roll back down on you, it has that little edge there for resistance. So for the back of the carrier, what I like to do is just throw a couple stitches on. Where's the stitches? Just throw a couple stitches back in here in the corner where nobody can see it. I like discreet, you know, hiding things. I don't like things way, you know, struts all over the place sticking out. Just bothers me and drives me crazy. So if I can find ways to hide things, I do. Okay, so once we load up, I'm going to activate all my engines, and then I'm going to turn off the reverse engines, turn off the left and the right engines, and leave the forward engines going. Hit shift just a little bit to get myself onto the runway. Now, why did I hit the space bar? Because there's a bug in the game. And the bug is, and while I was trying to put the gimbaling engine together, if you start your engine with an action key, it doesn't activate the gimbaling. So the gimbaling's deactivated. Right click, and this silly thing always gets in the way. Right click and lower the ramp, and here's our ramp. You're going to notice it actually picks the back end of the carrier up a little bit. That's fine, don't worry about it. Well, it didn't do it. Okay, so all you have to do now is drive up on here, drive up in there, put your parking brake on your aircraft, and then switch back to your carrier. Load the ramp back up. If by chance this lifts the carrier off the ground a little bit, don't worry about it. It's not going to break anything. What I would normally do though is I would put 1 or 2 struts on the other side of that just to make sure that it doesn't pull off, but it should be fine. So what these centerpieces have here are 125 units of water in each one. They come standard with water, and the reason for that is they all come with water and they're all centralized. So it holds all the weight central to the ship. If by chance you burn through all the fuel on this side and you start noticing, or if you have aircraft on one side and you start noticing your ship is leaning, you can take that water, control click one of the walls, and transfer the water to the wall. So that's pretty much it. That's the ship, and I hope you guys enjoy it. It took a lot of work and a lot of late nights and playtesting, and it's not perfect, but I was never striving for perfection, I don't think. I was just trying to make myself happy, and hopefully a bunch of you guys can get as much use out of it as I'm going to get out of it. I'm going to put it through its paces now that I'm done. I'm going to try to get it around the world or something. I'm going to take it a certain amount of distance every day and park it and see how far I can get. I'll make a little log of it and post it on the thread or something. So as a final thing that I wanted to show you, what I'll do is I'll end this. Actually, you know what? Cancel that. In order to go back to the Space Center, you dock your boat and everything. Don't think that something's broken, and don't hit end flight. If you're in the middle of a voyage or something like that, what you want to do is make sure, even though you're stopped, you could have the engine group off. So what you want to do is you want to double check that your thrust is all the way down. So hit X, drop your thrust all the way down, then hit ESC and go to the Space Center instead of ending the flight, or else you're just gonna, you're gonna cancel out your carrier and you're gonna be stuck with starting all over again. So what I'm gonna do is just take off here for you, and I'll show you what it does. Whoa! So yeah, it does fly. Guaranteed, it flies. And the good thing about it is it doesn't use hardly any fuel. So if we take a look here, it's using 0.01 fuel. So it's very efficient. My goal was just to have it reverse aircraft on the carrier, and have just enough thrust to essentially move an aircraft on the ground, but not fly it. Now, I guess I'm breaking the rule by it flying this, but this is a microplane, which is almost useless. It can carry one guy, and it can barely land, but you know what? It's pretty neat. I think it's pretty cool, but it's also extremely touchy, so just to let you know that. That's the carrier down there. You can see how big it is. Whoa! In here, I'm going to take the avionics unit off. I'll take this and rotate it. So here there's the access panel. It has a shock hazard on there. It has a pressure gauge here for the amount of thrust it's throwing out, and there's a schematic on there in case any of you guys have to fix it. So it does a pretty good job. It's pretty cool. It's very small. It'll fit on your aircraft with it'll surface mount, or it will attach in line with the rest of your hull, and it should match perfectly with the hull from the other from the company, or from the official vanilla parts. It should fit perfectly. So I'll actually show you that. So if I take that gas tank off, you have to go a little bit to the side sometimes for it to connect, but there it is. So if I connect another, you see, you get a little bit of a glitch. I think it's not my part because it connects the other way, but on some of the other vanilla parts you get a little bit of a visual glitch on it, but it's good. So as you can see, it can be totally internal like that. It's not going to blow this up. It's not going to blow this up. It's not going to damage anything. It'll burn. It'll fly the plane just fine, just in the middle of the plane, just like that. So have fun with it, guys. Have fun with the parts. I'll have the parts up tonight. I'm a little bit behind schedule, but with everything else that's going on, it's difficult to find time to do everything. So have fun with the parts, and put your pictures and your videos and your comments on the thread. the boat parts thread, and I promise you that there's going to be more parts in a month or two from now, and just to flush out and fill in some of the gaps that we have with the current parts that I'm releasing. Have a good night, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.